Welcome to My Creative Corner 3, a podcast about quilting, crafting, creativity, with a dash of garden, chatting about current interests and life in my northern town. You can find show notes at mycreativecorner3.com. You can also find all of my social media, how to purchase a virtual cup of coffee, and all events on the website. Please feel free to stop by and leave a comment. I really appreciate everyone who listens. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the podcast. Hello, everyone. How has your January been? It has been the weirdest January I can think of in a long time. After my stress-free holidays and everything going without a hitch and to plan, January has been the complete opposite. Now let's delve into that a little bit. But, overall, we got to start with the weather report. It's been January. It's been very cold with a couple of warmer days. And we get snow a lot of weeks. We're up to 112 inches of snow, I think, last report. We're going to have a high of 5 on Monday with below 0 at night. And we keep waffling back and forth between these Arctic blasts and with a couple of days of reprieve, maybe in the 20s, maybe up to 30, and then the Arctic blast. With all of this brings not a lot of sunshine, winter coughs, colds, and sneezes, and in general, just a lot of people in the world I am in being grumpy and irritable, and work has been a chore. Everything has been difficult, irritable, annoying, not working right, and that's winter. I mean, everything from you got to start your car to warm it up because it's so cold. You got to let it get the fluids moving. You got to brush the snow off. You got to have extra clothes and warmth, to the heat not working at the office very well. I've had to secure space heaters, wear extra layers of clothes when years past it was so hot you couldn't hardly stand it. Yeah, the building's old. It's probably as old as my house. And, it's just always something. Nothing in my life has been broken, though, knock on wood. And that has been a good thing. We've had a couple of, oh my goodness, why is the heat on the truck not working? Things like that were easily problem solved. But overall, it's just been difficult. So that means it seems like every crafting project I have tried this month has gone to crap. It's just not been good. It's not been good. I will jump right into it. So the first thing that I noticed is I finished up my knitted sweater wrap. The pattern by Knititude is fantastic, but I'm larger sized, so I altered it a little bit to make it oversized. It turned out to be too oversized to the point where I couldn't wear it. So I tried to rip it out, but I picked the wrong end, and you can't unravel from the end that you started on versus the end that you finished the last row. It would have unraveled, right? So this didn't work out well, and I wound up cutting it off at the point that I want. It's not unraveling. It seems to be at a good length, and I'm going to pick up the stitches when I'm not upset about this project, and I will knit the cuff again, and I will try to get a photo of me wearing the wrap fitted to the right length, and I saved the cut off pieces. I will probably throw them away. I don't know that there's any use for them, and there's no salvaging the yarn. I've knotted it up and it's a hot mess, so it's okay. live and learn. I consulted with Kristen of Simple Everyday Handmade and Simple Handmade Everyday. I'm sorry, my brain's a hot mess. And I said, I'm so upset I had to rip stitches that didn't rip and cut and all of that. And she said, on Knitters Say, there's always more knitting. And isn't that the truth? So that made me laugh really hard. And I'm like, okay, I'll be able to finish it. I just needed to set it in timeout for a little bit. And I loaded my friend's very large queen quilt on my frame. And I don't know what happened, except I made a couple of bad choices in how I loaded the back, which was very large. And when I got to the last 30%, I found massive pleats across the whole quilt. It was due to the size of my frame, the size of the back. I didn't trim it carefully. At least it's still oversized, but it pleated terribly. So I needed to rip out a row, and that took me a couple of weeks of coming and going. And when you're mad and you're ripping things out, upset, you have the risk of damaging the quilt because you just start ripping and pulling stitches. And you don't want to do that with a quilt that is somebody else's and it's destined to be a gift. So I carefully pulled the stitches out. And yesterday I spent the afternoon resetting the back for the last part. I think there may be one or two tiny tucks in it versus those massive but ugly pleats. And I'm back to tension's good, everything's good. And I am now down to the last two, maybe 1.5 probably rows, or a normal size row. And then the final borders. I called my friend, explained the problems, and told her I am retiring from taking other people's quilts because this has been very stressful for me and I can't live up to timetables. She was fine with that. It's just, I felt bad because I wanted to do the best job ever for my friend. But it's my best job and I did what I could. Anyway, over that whole emotional roller coaster, it will be finished. It will be beautiful. And I have one more customer quilt and she will get the same discussion. And then I'm just going to do only my mother's and my quilts to long arm. None of them will probably ever be a queen sized again. And we will be able to stay on top of our work and have fun. And that's really, I went back to my why. Why am I long arming? Well, at first I did it because I wanted to learn a very difficult skill. And I wanted to master it. And I did master it. Now I'm just trying to go to my best creative self and go back to doing those types of quilts. And they take a lot of time and I like doing them for me. Not everybody gets those. And that's my why. I didn't want to sit at a computer all day designing stitches for a robot to quilt. I wanted to do freehand. And not everybody enjoys it. It's stressful when you have other people's quilts. And I don't want to be a full-time long armer. At one time I may have thought about it, but no, I'm not doing that. And so that was my why. That's my why now, why I long arm. And we're going to make use of the machine and frame. It's been repaired. It's working quite well. And I am thrilled to be able to do my quilts and my mom's. I went back to my why on knitting. Why did I learn how to knit? Well, because I thought it was a fun, difficult thing to learn. I had a terrible time learning to knit. I picked up crochet actually quite easily. And my why on knitting was I enjoy the rhythmic, repetitive nature of stockinette stitches and not super duper advanced patterns as a way to relax in the evening. I like doing shawls and hats, and I've done cables and all of those things, but I don't enjoy making complicated things after a long, hard day at work. Maybe someday when I'm retired and want to get into doing some of those other things, cool. But I like doing the types of knitting that I do. That is my why. Oh, then I decided I was going to start working on sewing some blocks, and they turned out okay. But I just was like, my head is so stressed out. I'm going to put my quilting piecing part aside and just sew buntings as a break. I was feeling a little bit burned out, and I really enjoy the whole quilt along where you're doing just a couple of blocks a month, and this is going to take a whole year for the family favorites. I don't have to post my blocks till Thursday. I will probably sew them tomorrow because I feel like the tide is turning, so to speak. And I started to go through the fabric that I have and thought, a great project is making buntings, lots of buntings. And I've really enjoyed making the buntings. They're pretty easy. I found a technique that I enjoy using, and it's kind of mindless, and it'll be a way to put good use for the pretty fabrics that I have, that I don't want them to end up in a landfill, and I can give them away, I can sell them, I can do whatever. So I'm just making those. I've probably made 5 or 6 of them so far in January. I have a few more to finish that may take it up to 10. So that's the why. I want to use up the fabric that I will never make a quilt with, and I want to use it versus trying to continue to feel like I'm forcing fabric upon people who don't need it because they have their own stash with the problem of having all of that fabric, and I want to make something pretty with them. So that was the why on that. And then I thought, okay, so just something to really relax and kind of go through the craft room and see what's here. Get rid of things that I'm not going to use. So I did find someone who is interested in all of the acrylic paints and watercolors that I do not like. And that was a great thing. I felt a big relief for giving her a bag of those things. Things were out of my craft space, and I'm going to continue to slowly do that as I go through all of my things, as you go through every year. It feels like it's an annoying perpetual problem, but it was a great way because I was feeling uninspired, and I just went through the craft space, drawer by drawer, bin by bin, and I have some ideas to consolidate, some ideas on getting rid of some things and better storage for others. And that's when I just started realizing a feeling of, wow, how much you fall for this materialism, consumerism, the FOMO. I'm like, where did all of this stuff come from? Well, over time, you accumulate a lot of stuff. And that led to the whole January decluttering projects that I'm just trying to do a little at a time so I don't get overwhelmed like that, and just kind of going through things. So my sewing room, I didn't do the big just get it done quilt sewing room purging type of a thing, but it's a slow picking through things, decluttering things, throwing old junk away, going, why did I keep all these tiny scraps, or these paints are no good, these paints are good, the no good went in the trash. Things that I'm no longer interested in are going to find a new home, and just kind of slowly going through. So I found a bag of soft, super bulky yarn that makes slouchy granny squares. I was going to make a cardigan, and I didn't like how all the different squares were turning out because I didn't have enough of 1 or 2 yarns, or I didn't buy enough to make it look scrappy. And then I saw a really great inspiration for crochet. They made baskets and plant pot covers out of granny squares into little round circular baskets and bins to hold items or your plants to cover up maybe stained or ugly plant pots. I have some that are chipped or the paint's peeling off, but the pot is still good. And, plant pots can be rather pricey. So I thought that's a great way to upcycle these into a new project. And I have been working on that as an evening relaxing project. And I got my Lori Holt crochet cotton, her chunky thread, and started making some granny squares just for fun, just for a fidget, something to do in the evening that's relaxing. I've made several little, these soft, super bulky plant pot covers or baskets are slouchy, and you can soft, and I'm folding them over to fit both live plant pots as well as silk plant pots, and it gives a nice soft kind of bohemian meets granny core, which I have found someone who's calling it that online, and I'm like, that's what I have. Granny core, a lot of old stuff that I'm making good use of. So I do enjoy crochet. I've picked it up, pretty quickly as a young person, so it's fun as a pick up and put down project. And even though sometimes I don't particularly enjoy like crocheted scarves or blankets because they're heavy and they have holes in them, like granny squares and things. So they're more decorative than useful for cold days. But I enjoy making those kinds of things. And I thought what I want to do, if I want to make some really firm baskets for storage, I'll get the proper yarn, but I'm just using up what I have. And I did go to Hobby Lobby to buy some more super bulky yarn for crocheting the plant pot covers and slouchy baskets together, and a circle for the bottom. So that's the why I continue to do crochet. So those are the items that I have done. Have I accomplished a lot of decluttering? Yes and no. Yes, I've gone through the papers and I found some papers we were looking for that were misplaced. They were actually right where I put them for a reason, but that's not where we thought they were. I do strange organization things sometimes. So a lot of that is much, much better. So I wanted to talk about, what did I do during this time and during the next couple of weeks where I feel like everything has gone sideways and nothing was coming together. All of my projects felt unfinished and actually in a spot of being, decrepit. A crisis? No. But it wasn't working. It just wasn't working. Sometimes you just got to put them all away, right? Take a time out. I did look it up and saw some tips and tricks of how to deal with creative block and times when nothing was coming together right. And there's lots of reasons for it. January isn't a great month. I had several, week and a half of not feeling good, very stressed out over some issues at work. And all of that comes together to less than ideal projects. And the other part is I got noticing some trends that I was falling for and that a lot of other people have fallen for. And then sometimes it's easy to lose sight of what is handmade. Perfect is only done by machines that are very tightly quality controlled. Even pictures and videos. I got a little negative comment about a short that I did that it was kind of lazy and then it didn't have much production quality to it. I deleted the person's access to my account and blocked and deleted those comments because then it escalated to being trolling. I didn't say much of anything in a comment, just that sometimes I just let the videos speak, the story themselves. And then he got really nasty, and I just deleted it. Those kinds of things, are, like, hey, these are handmade little videos. These are handmade items. What is appealing about crafting to me and art is that it is handmade. Yes, AI generated items sometimes can be cool because they're surreal, but I think that's why the embroidery machine, I really have an appeal of it, because I could use it as a tool to do a lot of items that would be more perfect. And I will be honest, at many shows that you go to for quilts and crafting and all that stuff, what do people, what are they drawn to? A lot of things that are not 100, they're ideas of human people, don't get me wrong. The designs are by a human most of the time, but they are not executed 100% from human hands. And that's fine. That's the world we live in. But I kind of lost sight of that with crochet and knitting and even my free motion long arming. The appeal of what that type of craft is a craft that is done 100% by hand, even though I'm using a machine as a tool. And that hit home when I had that realization. I'm like, okay, I just need a break. I need to get my neurology calmed down and just look at what I have. That's where the going through my items and playing with fabric, and even at Quilt Guild, someone brought an interesting item in. It was called a color cube. I guess Bonnie Hunter talks about them, but they're color palettes that are on cards with numbers. And you can even play like a little game and say, oh, I want to pull up my birthday. Happens to be 5/25. And so you can pull up 5/25 and make something with that color palette. Now, I don't like random. I like controlled scrappy, but I have used palette generators on Pinterest, looking up things that have a lot of the colors that I might have, or a picture that I find very, very beautiful and interesting, and seeing what colors were pulled out of that picture by some of the palette generators online. And, that is a great way for inspiration. It's also a great way to go through and find things left undone, like the soft, super bulky granny squares that I'm recycling into a different project. Certain things need to go, certain things can be reworked. You can get inspired to do different things. It's fun to look through Pinterest boards, vision boards. You can make your own. I'm going to figure out how to do that on Canva and post, like a vision board. Those types of things are very, very helpful. But then, what can happen is that we easily get irritated when things aren't 100% right. Like, do you hear this box of tea? I thought I bought a stress relief kava tea, and I was going to make some this morning. And then I got super irritated because I made a mistake. Oh, that perfectionistic thing. I bought honey lavender yogi tea. So now I'm doing the next thing, which is always suggested, is go, well, is there something I can take away from this that helps me as I'm making more things or going grocery shopping or whatever? I wasn't feeling great Friday. It was a very long, hard week, and I was tired, but we needed to go to the grocery store. But I thought, you know what? The reframing of this is going, what if I like this? It could be a great thing, because my brain says, I've never tried this before, and it's probably going to be terrible. But I'm like, well, it's got 3 things in it that I really like. It's got organic lavender flavor, lemon, which I like, vanilla, which I like, honey, which I like. So it's 4 things. Plus, I could add a little tiny bit of the monk fruit sugary sweetener that seems to go well if the lavender is too strong. So now I'm thinking, I'm kind of looking forward to trying something new, trying this tea. I was also looking at, what could I try new with some of the crafting projects that I have? And I decided, I'm not going to go buy a whole bunch of new stuff. What can I do with what I have? And that was where I came up with the project I'm working now. I also wanted to bump up my exercise because I thought that's a great way to work through mentally some of the stressors that you have. And I get inspired a lot while I'm exercising. So I upped my Qigong, and we're getting into more advanced workouts. And I did a walk outside, and I did go into the gym and row. So because it's very cold, maybe I'll go to the hockey rink after work and do a few laps because I have a goal. On my spring break, little vacation, I want to climb to the top of what was called Klingman's Dome. It's not anymore. It's got a new name, and I can't remember what it is. It's in the Gatlinburg area, and I think it's the Great Smoky Mountains National Forest. We're going back there this spring with the family, and I want to be able to do that hike all the way to the top of the 10,000-foot observation tower. Now, that you start at the parking lot, and it's only about a mile up and a mile down. I should be able to do that by April. It's okay. I also realized I needed to do something that could give me some confidence back, and were quick wins. So I went through a quick win. Let's declutter the paper drawer. Let's clear off the counters. Quick win. I pulled out my Lori Holt chunky thread. Quick win. I made several granny squares in all of those colors that I picked go together extremely well. Mix and match, pick a mix type of project. And it was no decisions, no brainers. Things that I really, really liked. So the things that are really annoying, sometimes you just got to take it one tiny step at a time after you have a little break from it. Rotating projects, that's something that I do often so you don't get bored. And every once in a while, you come to a project that needs to be wrapped up as it is, like the Dear Jane project. I might go through and make a few more squares to give me the even number of squares that I need and just wrap it up. Or you need to pass it on because it's becoming a big annoyance to you, and it takes up too much brain space. So kinder, gentler projects. Maybe you need to do that for a while. I am. Kinder, gentler projects I've picked is the family favorites quilt along. I'm not going to add any more, and I have a couple Lori Holt projects from books that I have that I really, really want to make this year. And then I come back when you're refreshed, inspired, and you can feel really engaged. And to do that, I also have to do other things, like a lot of self-care. Make sure you're getting your sleep. Talk out the things with other people. Everybody has a month that it's just nothing going right. And my friend and I actually got laughing about that. How just some projects you get in these messy middles, and then they're all in a messy middle, and you just want to dump them all. In January, I always get this feeling that I would like to get rid of about 90% of everything in this house and start over. Maybe that thought bled over into some of these projects. And I'm going to do fun things today. I have a long weekend. I want to do some sort of nail care, maybe do a manicure, do extra moisturizing to my super dry face and body. and really look at another type of small indulgence. And I think I wanted that tea to be it. And I was worried that I bought the wrong tea and it was going to wreck my whole little indulgence of a $2 box of tea from the grocery store. Just kind of learning to let it go. So in the Silk and Sonder journal for this month is prosperity. Prosperity. What I've learned so far is that prosperity is more than just money, right? Prosperity is really feeling, what's the word? One moment, I have it written down. The biggest thing about prosperity is that it's not just financial. And I got hung up on that really prosperity is about thriving, feeling success in some things, that you have a joy, purpose, and fulfillment in your life, about looking at the abundance that you have versus the things that you don't have that you think will make you feel fulfilled. You know, we are appreciative about the love, health, and opportunity that we have. All of those things, not just material wealth. So it's always this whole idea that prosperity is a journey, not a destination. That was another thing. And that sometimes prosperity is growth. And that happens to be my word for the year. I took a little quiz through the journal. Silk and Sonder has been very helpful for me to stay on track of keeping these insights, down, and kind of spending the whole month pondering the theme, the condition of being successful or thriving. That is really more about my entire well-being. That's what the month was about. Next month, I got the journal, but I don't remember what it's about. I'm really enjoying it. I almost let it go because, this is a little bit of a pricey journal, and around roughly $25 a month or so. And you end and get a new one every month. But it's been very helpful to keep me on track of looking at the thriving and growth, because that's my word for the year. I thought we would end with something kind of funny. I am on Pinterest, and let's talk about social media. I'm on Pinterest, and I guess I signed up for a business account. So they send me these funny emails. I get insight emails from all of my social media, what's doing well, what's not, what's trending, what kinds of things are going well. I'm going to be honest, the loss of TikTok is difficult because I edited a lot of video on that for shorts, and I dropped my phone. Sorry about that. And so it's it's going to be a transition until we figure out if it's going to be gone or if it's going to be back, whatever. I just need to learn how to do some of this more on my own versus relying on technology. So because I miss the editing and some of the insights and funny things that I got from TikTok, I've been kind of looking around at my other social media and making a plan of what I want 2025 to look like on it. I've been overthinking that a whole lot this month, but that's okay. But I just really wanted to share some of the insights that I thought were incredibly funny on what Pinterest predicts is going to be hot for 2025. So what they're predicting in the color category is called cherry coated, as in cherry reds, deep cherry maroony color, that this is going to be infused in clothes, makeup, menus, and mood boards. That this is going to have our hearts in 2025. Red is not my favorite color. And I can assure you that cherry red will not be in my mix. Aura Beauty, as in your aura. What kind of aura do you give off? And they said that 2025 will be the year of the makeup mood ring. So when you think about color aesthetic, it's going to be based on your aura, whatever that brings to you. I guess they're purples and blues, and you have, like a pastel aura. I don't know. What the heck is that? I don't see that being anything I am interested in. The pictures of the makeup look like the 1980s. I'm sorry, because I don't really want... Remember that bold purple, green, and yellow eye makeup that used to be on all of the magazines, high fashion, and the videos? Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Okay, Rococo Revival is going to be a hot topic. They think that it's going to be all frills and no chill. I thought that was hilarious. Weddings, parties, aesthetics, everything is going to be about the late Baroque and Rococo era that was opulent, ultra feminine. And it's going to be also about corsets, gowns, luxe, L-U-X-E, luxe accessories, and ornate tablescapes. I look at this and think, kind of like, fancy movies from that time period. I would never wear some of those, but I do like, some more maximalist ideas. Sea witches, huh? What I like about this is a deep purple, and it's going to be more seashells and starfish. The siren sultry makeup, dark moody mermaid manicures. Now I do kind of like those colors, so that may come on. Like pearls and things that are from the sea, but. Sirens, I think of dark, almost gothic type of look. Surreal soirees. Curvy candlesticks, fantastical flowers, gravity-defying centerpieces. Surrealism, modern surrealism with Rococo Revival. Come on, how is this going to work? I don't get it. Now, my favorite one on here is Castlecore, saying that the core means everyone's homes, fashions, and all of that is going to take inspiration, like boho, cottage core, granny core. I identify with that. Well, this is going to be about medieval, is having its major movement. Ancient castles, people are going to design their homes with the trend of stained glass castles, brickwork, all of the things to look Gothic and medieval. Now, I would go with maybe more Viking and dark academia had a baby. This is all about just medieval stuff. But please don't bring, oh my gosh, this one is all about like the studded doors and stuff. Yeah, it kind of looks like Renfest to me. But that's okay. I enjoy it, but I don't think I would do my house in that. Dolled up is the next trend. Dolled up. People are going to turn their entire lives into a tiny, mighty dollhouse. They're going to go all in on baby doll makeup, cute ideas, necklace, charms, and whimsy. It looks like Polly Pocket is what their little thing is. Now, I am a sucker for miniatures. I do love miniature things. But no, this is like the revival of the plastic hair clips that my daughter wore in the 90s, the flower, little flower hair, plastic hair clips and butterfly plastic purses. No, I say no to this for me. Now, fisherman aesthetic. This goes with the mermaid core. Now, I'm like, I could possibly jump in on this trend. Meet the effortlessly, there we go, that was tough, cool cool town fishermen. Can't be out to sea. This is going to be about laid-back maritime attitude and bringing the sea take to everything, like cable knit sweaters, sardine tattoos. Okay, if I hear of any of y'all getting a sardine tattoo, will you please send me a picture of it? And cable knit sweaters, though, I can get into Aran knit sweaters and things that I've seen. And stripes on everything. Oh, I hate stripes on clothing. Stripes boggle my eyes. The only thing I like about stripes is you can cut them for binding on quilts and it looks kind of cool. The last one I see on this aesthetic is, no, there's several more, but we're going to hit the next one, the goddess complex. Now, what I like about this is the goddess is all about the feminine power, and it's going to be all about everything will be a muse moment. That's everything from golden facials, gold braids, goddess braids, sublime nail designs. So this kind of sounds like Lux and Goddess had a baby, and you're going to have all gold, sparkly, shiny power accessories. Rebel floats. This is like the 1950 Rebel. Has a sweet twist on the old soda fountains, and also with the cherry red with it. I don't think so. Terra Futura. This is more of the whole meeting rebels with revolutionizing sustainable living with recyclable fashion, self-sufficient gardens, and community spaces. It's all about eco-living and sci-fi vibes. Now, I like everything about the eco-living. I don't think I could do the sci-fi vibes, which is what the picture has on there as being anything in my house. We'll kind of just hit the top. Next one I thought were funny. Primary play, which is primary colors for children's bedrooms. Pickle fix. Oh, yeah. I do love the pickle green. And it's about tangy cocktails and pickles being in everything. I like fried pickles. That's about it. Moto boho is a hippie aesthetic that meets with the chunky leather handbags, flowy skirts, moto boots, which kind of looks steampunky and biker to me, and fringe. It's not just a lifestyle, it's a look. Skiing is the peak travel, so you were going to look at like blues, whites, mountains, that kind of thing. That's going to have, anything about very high mountain elevation. I'm thinking the Alps type of look. Chaos cakes, just hot mess express there. A gamer aesthetic, which is player one. Mix and maximalist, double, like everyone, like your boyfriend, girlfriend, everyone wearing like matching coordinated outfits. Like, oh, my husband and I would never do that. Like having matching shirts. Oh, no. And nesting parties, which is the last one, which is all about the gifts. Gift giving for baby showers, postpartum, setting up your home, and all that has to do with a new baby coming. Now, I thought some of those were interesting. If you're into trends and want to know, I don't even know what the Pantone color of the year is. Kind of at this point, I know what I like, and I identify with the core that I just saw, and like you said, it's the granny core. It is all of the things that my grandmother and great-grandmother had that would be my daughter's great and great-great-grandmother. Things from 30s, 20s, and 30s that are interesting, also mixed with, you guessed it, the French blue country geese look. So it's kind of like depression glass and country geese and everything hodgepodge together for this look with old crochet doilies and, quilts fit in there. So mine is a modified granny core. So I thought that would be a great way to end this podcast. And Let me know if you get that sardine tattoo. If you would like to support the podcast, please share it with your friends. Leave a review on any of the places that you listen to podcasts to, because I think I'm on most all of them. And a cup of coffee is always greatly appreciated, but for those people who would like to purchase one, and if you happen to do any shopping at the Fat Quarter Shop or Silk and Sonder, I do have an affiliate link for both. Thank you very much for listening. If you made it this far, I thank you so much for listening to my woes in January with some funny trends that Pinterest is predicting for the year. Mermaid Core, let me know if you do it. I could see it being fun. Take care, you guys, and we will talk again next time. Be creative.